Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to break down my income and expenses for this month and how I was able to generate $5,500 in passive income during this pandemic period. But before we deep dive into these ones and zeros, I want to share with you the reason why I show my personal finances on YouTube, and it kind of has to do with your favorite mentor. I mean, name one. You got Ty Lopez, Grant Cardone, Dan Locke. I mean, the list is fairly endless, but how many of these multi-millionaire real estate moguls actually show their month-over-month personal finances? It is very rare and far and few in between. And the reason I'm telling you this is it kind of has to do with my 16-year-old self. So we're going to step back in time a little bit and keep in mind, guys, when I was 16 years old, the iPhone only just came out. And with this ever-growing gleam in my eye of being a performer, a magician, I want to know how to make money at it. What are the finances behind it? How does it kind of work? And I had to go online and find a professional performer somewhere. I did in Vegas, and I had to pay them $400 for them to show me their personal finances. And back when I was 16, think about that, $400 is a lot to a 16-year-old, ladies and gentlemen. And that changed my entire perspective and the outlook on my career. It gave me hope. It showed me something I could relate myself to in my real world circumstances. And I felt like there was nothing more tangibly valuable than that, which is why I feel it is ever more important I share with you today and try and offer you that same value that I got in return. And it's something that I think is sparse on YouTube. It obviously takes a lot of guts to throw this stuff out here. So if you get value out of this, consider slapping a like and subscribing. But ladies, gentlemen, let's jump right into this.
Drop it.
Welcome back, my passive income investors. I like and keep in mind the IRS sees this, or here in Canada, the CRA. And if I'm being transparent with them, I might as well be transparent with you. I ain't got nothing to hide, and you're definitely more like family than they are. So let's get right into my personal finances here on my iCloud numbers, where I track everything. And we'll just start with the total that I have left over at the end of every month. So minusing my expenses and my bills, this is my operating income left over. And we can see for the month of March was the closest I have come to in a long time on operating on a negative income, which means I would have had to use my emergency fund to pay some of my bills, as I was only left with $400, which started getting really scary, might I say. But going into April, it has been one heck of a turnaround story, and I can't wait to break this down for you guys, as I was left over with $2,321. So let's just start with the dividend side of it. Then we'll get into my actual working income and my other passive income, and then I'll break down my expenses. But for my dividends on the US side of the border, I had GEO pay me out $171. I had MO pay me out $160. And keep in mind, I have this set up on share repurchase, so it is just giving me shares instead of cash. And also keep in mind, I don't convert the US income. This is all technically Canadian income, so there's a few discrepancies in the total. Technically, there should be a little bit more if I converted these US dividends. But nonetheless, moving to the Canadian side of the border here, guys, we got my monthly pairs, Northland Power and RioCam, which paid me out $50 for Northland and $37 from Rio, which is that REIT. And then taking a look at my financials, Canadian Imperial Bank and Bank of Nova Scotia paid me out $121 and $130, or $250 combined. And if we add all of this up for the month of April, my dividends were over $700. That is why we invest, because who knows, if you're like me and your entire career falls apart due to a pandemic, heck, at least you have some income coming off a portfolio, because man, I am glad I set myself up for circumstances just like this. But let's move on over into the actual income side of things that are not related to my stocks. And we'll start by talking about my actual working income here. Many of you know I'm a full-time magician, and I have lost all of my clients this year, going all the way up till June, which still might be considered canceled. And I got very fortunate that I had a large government contract in the month of March that felt bad and decided they were going to pay out all the entertainment they booked, and they paid me $1,800. I was supposed to entertain a lot of kids and a lot of unfortunate people, so I do appreciate them helping out, but at the same time, you kind of get those mixed emotions behind that check. Now, taking a look at my Shopify income, our websites, Passive Income Educator, thechartmaster.com, they paid me out the most it has ever paid out for the month. So thanks to a lot of you guys for helping support this channel. As
as you made me $841 for the month of April. Absolutely unbelievable and astounding. So, I mean, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, for my YouTube income, this one's been very interesting because when I actually go into my YouTube calculator, which shows you how much you're making day over day, it actually showed that my income was way down. Yet somehow when I got the check this month, it was actually higher than it's ever been. I'm sitting on $312 for the month of April on that YouTube income. So thank you, YouTube, and thank you guys for watching, because all of that is what keeps this going. Now, where my income gets really convoluted and very fascinating is on my government benefits. I got $2,000 from the Emergency Relief Fund since this pandemic has started. On top of that, I forgot this month that I was getting back my HST return from doing my taxes, which will break down a little farther when we start looking at my expenses, but that was about $400. And then I got a GST check, which is just checks the government hands out quarterly. They're usually not that big. I think I got $100 from that, which came to a combined total, which I've never said before, from the government is $2,554. I don't know what to say about that, but that is what's pretty much keeping me up in the green on this month. So I'm thanking the government as well and applauding the Canadian government for taking the steps they have taken. So keep in mind, guys, that means my income for this month was over $5,500, which I am super grateful for. Now, let's see how much of that got chewed up by my expenses. My phone bill, to start it all off, my phone bill is going back into the regular cycle where I'm getting charged $50 a month. I am this month thinking about paying it about 3 to 4 months in advance, so I don't have to deal with it again for another quarter. It's going to be a little higher because I had to pay extra for data this month, which I won't get charged for until next month. Doing a lot of streams for you guys, so I hope you enjoy those as well. Taking a look, my internet bill was $96 for the month. Auto insurance was $119, but this is the first month, I think, in probably the last decade of my life, I didn't have to put gas in my car, and I didn't have really any car repairs. So I only paid for insurance. I haven't gone through half a tank of gas this month because there's nowhere to go. And yeah, at least we're saving money on that side of it. Now, on the website side of things, my expenses, guys, which is why it is so beautiful to operate an online business, was 26 Canadian dollars. Now, bank fees are a little higher than usual, as I bought as many stocks as I could over the last few months for the month, because there's a lot of deals out there, taking any of that little capital I could scrape by just to get it in the markets on those deals. And I hope you guys were able to capture some of that downside as well. Now, on my food and living expenses, many of you know I'm a bum. I live at home with my parents here, and I have bought some snacks and stuff over the month, but I think I calculated that into enjoyment. It's a little higher than usual because, yeah, I made a bit of extra capital this month, put it back into the economy. I mean, not a huge amount, but a little bit nonetheless. And where I had some big dings is on my working and other expenses here, guys, because I had to pay my accountant, which was a little higher of a fee than I was expecting because I had to do a lot more work with my portfolio as I over-contributed to my RSP, which I'm going to show you how much that cost me in a second here. But that number isn't the total either. I also had to add in some working stuff that I bought to get access to some old data I had on a broken computer, some other stuff that would have just been considered work-related. But that was still over $700, big bill for this month. But where I got hit by far the most, guys, was paying my taxes for last year. And I don't want to complain because I got rather lucky with this. But if we look over here, guys, the total taxes I paid was $2,562. And that income breaks down as the over $1,000 I paid for HST and my general working income for last year, which is beautiful because that was way lower than the year before. I think in 2018, I paid something like $10,000. And then I over contributed to my RSP, which I had to deduct out, which ended up costing me just over $1,000. We can claim that toward next year's income and basically use it as kind of like prepaid tax and just kind of claim that I over contributed. But either way, big ding here. And am I going to complain? Absolutely not. This has been an incredible month, and I've used this month to primarily stock up my emergency fund because I don't know what the foreseeable future is going to look like. As I mentioned, I don't have any actual working income until June. I don't know if the Shopify stores are going to continue producing the income they are. I don't know if YouTube's going to keep scaling because when I look at that income, it keeps going down on YouTube for some reason. So I'm going to be very cautious with how I spend any of my savings going forward. Going to keep all my stock portfolio on share buybacks for the time being. And if there's any hope that I have moving forward, I did sign some contracts to end up hopefully being on a Netflix documentary along with, I think, an MTV show, but I'm not allowed to discuss the finer details with that. At this point, I'm just waiting to hear from the producers that the footage I gave them gets approved. And if it gets approved, that is going to be an insanely healthy paycheck, as it's the only income I've been able to stir up while I've been sitting here at home. But I mean, it's an interesting kind of work. So I mean, if it works out, heck, I get to be on Netflix. Netflix, guys. But I'd love to know what you guys think in that comment section below. As always, are you operating on some decent income this month? Do you still have your job? Are you a little bit more hesitant toward what your future income might look like? I'd love to hear about it. But stay cool, stay awesome, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.